Hello, listeners, and welcome to another episode of All in Our Business Podcast, the show where we discuss hot and controversial relationship topics while sharing our love journey along the way. I'm your host, TC.
And I'm your girl, Kiki.
And we don't have any shout-outs this week, but we just want to kind of celebrate the podcast. We've made it to the 10th episode.
Yay!
So we're happy to be on the 10th episode. Congratulations to us, and we still going. So we just want to celebrate that. And we're almost at 350 downloads, I believe it is. So we're just moving along, just pressing forward. So if you're out there listening, keep listening and share it with a friend so they can listen as well. So thank you all, and let's get going, baby. What we got for today's topic?
Thank you, everyone, for listening. Today's topic is on ultimatums in a relationship.
Oh, Lord.
I know.
Oh, Lord. Not ultimatums.
Ultimatums.
You better do it or I'm not doing this.
That's right. Sometimes y'all men need ultimatums because y'all don't move unless we have to tell you to move. So this should be interesting. And as you know, there are many different ultimatums. Some are rather extreme, while others are kind of the traditional ones that we've heard in the past. So before we get into it, let's kick it off with the scripture, baby.
Okay, so the scripture we got today is Jeremiah 8:15. We hoped for peace, but no peace came. We hoped for a time of healing, but found only terror. So that kind of befitting of ultimatum. Sometimes you think you're going to get peace out of that ultimatum, and you're not.
Yeah.
It's only made things worse. Actually, a lot worse.
Right.
So you thought you were going to get something from that, and that whole relationship might have went away, or that person just like deuces.
Mm-hmm. Or the friendship.
Whatever it may be. Yeah. So just keep that in mind.
Okay. So then, let's just dive into it. If that's the case. So what are ultimatums?
So ultimatums are often seen as detrimental in relationships and can create a manipulative environment. So I view my ultimatums as I'm demanding you to do something.
Wow.
And if you don't do it, here's going to be the consequence or the result of you not doing what I'm demanding you to do.
Oh, wow. And see, as a woman, I just see it as sometimes just lighting a fire under your feet.
Sometimes it can be, but men don't look at it like that a lot of times. Men look at it as, this woman is telling me I'm going to do this, and if I don't do it, this is what's going to happen. And a lot of men don't like that. They really
Why not?
Don't.
If we've given you the liberty for the longest time to do something, and you haven't done it, and then we come and we say, okay, now I'm got to make things just a little bit like some resistance here to get you to do it. What is problematic about that?
One, the tone of it. It's demanding. If we're in a relationship, it shouldn't be no demands from your partner. No, just being honest, it shouldn't be no demands. You can ask with love, you can ask with open communication, but there's no way you demanding something is going to be done is productive to your relationship. Listen to the word I'm using. I'm using the word demand.
I understand.
Now,
okay, so
if we have a conversation about it, it's not a demand. If we sit down, babe, can we talk? I really would like to this, or I really would love this to happen. The tone, you say it all the time, the tone is important. If you don't receive it, it's hard for that. And for men, we take it as demand a lot of times, because a lot of times the women are coming, and I'm just talking from the man perspective, the women are coming at us with a demand.
Because the last 10 times we've kind of asked you very nicely, or we kind of, skated around the issue or around what we're trying to get you to do because we know that y'all don't like the demand. So we do that, and then y'all don't pick up on the clues, so we have to get to a point where we have to say, okay, now I think we've gotten to a place that I have to give an ultimatum. And I think that's where the women are coming from sometimes when we place those ultimatums on a relationship.
So let me ask you this question. As a man, if I came to you and I demanded something, I have an example, but let's just say I demanded something. I said, if you don't do this, we're done. How would you take that? Honestly, as a woman, I didn't come to you and, with love and say, babe, can we talk? I really need this from you. Do you think you can kind of work on it? I just came to you and said, if you don't do this, we're done.
Oh.
That's what an ultimatum comes to us as men. That's how we take it.
Okay, but we're going to give our own real life thing.
Yeah, we have one.
Okay.
That's fine.
So,
But just as a woman, just answer that. Really. You wouldn't take that in a positive way. You really wouldn't.
no, I probably wouldn't take it in a positive way, but what I can say is if you told me about something over and over and over again and you feel as if you're fed up because I haven't made a change, then I understand that you're going to change your approach. So the first 5 times you may have said, babe, I really need you, for example, for us, I really need you to give me the physical touch. And I'm like, oh, okay, I'll work on it. And I'm trying to work on it, but not really working on it. Mm-hmm. And then one day you're like, you know what? I've reached my limit. If you don't do this, then I just can't be here in this relationship because this is what I need. And I'm like, okay.
But in that case, or in the scenario that you're bringing up, I would have done it 99 times because I love you. So I would have continued to just kind of keep asking.
No, babe, you have reached your breaking point, and you were just like, you can't keep doing this to me.
No, and
yes.
But look at this. So think about this. When you come with the ultimatum like that, it's almost like you want an exit strategy. You're looking for a way out.
I don't think so. No, I think so.
A lot of men are. They're like, if I tell her this, maybe she'll just leave me alone.
Okay, maybe the man is looking for that, but I think when a woman gives an ultimatum, we're not looking for an exit. We're literally just like, this is the last resort. And we feel as if we don't apply the pressure, sometimes things don't get done. Okay. So let's talk about the types of ultimatums. Maybe that will help us.
That will help.
Bring some clarity. Okay. So I think like the most traditional or most common one is, I want to be married by this time or I'm leaving. Like if you don't propose.
We've been dating for 7 years. If you don't ask me to marry you this year, I'm not staying.
I'm gone. So as a woman, I would just say that you may, if you're with a man and you're dating him and everything's going well, or even if it's not, y'all had y'all challenges in a relationship, I think after a certain period of time, she's like, I need to leave this relationship. If you're not moving forward with trying to go to the next phase and we've talked about it, we've had those conversations, then I think sometimes she's like, okay, I just got to, here we are at the final stage. I'm going to have to incorporate some type of ultimatum to get you to move.
But what if that man says, I love you and I just love the way this relationship is going. I love the way we're vibing everything. And I think if we get married, it might change the situation.
Well, that's the conversation we should have had for the last 7 years. You saying, okay, yeah, I'm not interested in getting married because I just want to be friends with you. Or I just want to be a lifelong partner. I'm not interested in marriage. Okay. So that's a conversation that should have happened. But I think oftentimes women do have the conversation with the man, I will hope anyway. And it's like, oh yeah, we're going to get around to it. Don't rush it. How many men you've heard, don't put a time limit on it or don't rush it. And we're like, you're not about to get all my good years, and then when I'm hitting 50 or 60, you come back talking about, oh yeah, I'm ready to get married. Nah, bro. We're going to have to give you some restrictions here. Okay. So I don't think it's, sometimes demands are good, right? At our job, sometimes demands are good to get us to do things. Sometimes you need incentives to do things. So I don't necessarily say there's always a negative thing. I do think that it's a conversation that you want to have with your partner. So I think if a woman gives a man an ultimatum, he should come back instead of just hearing it for what you said earlier, like, I'm just hearing this, you trying to manipulate me, or you trying to get me to do something. Instead, hear it as saying, you know what, babe, you've been asking about that same issue for X amount of times. I don't have a deadline right now, so I probably can't meet that deadline if I don't do it in X amount of times, blah, 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 but it will come. And I think a woman would feel a little easier or give her reassurance in knowing, okay, I hear you. Okay. I probably can't meet that time frame, but I hear what you're saying, and I'm going to make it happen.
And I think, and for a man, I'm just going to speak for the man, I think if you even show some change or you're putting forth some effort, the woman will go, okay, at least I can see he is giving some effort, and he's not just disappearing and forgetting what I just asked him.
Absolutely.
Or telling him.
Absolutely. Yeah. And then like going back to that example for, that type of ultimatum, if you don't get married in a certain period of time, I also feel like sometimes we know people will string you along at their convenience. So it's like, yeah, we're going to get married, and she's still dedicated to this one guy. Maybe the guy got some other outside influences or relationships going on and he's not really ready to get married. But sometimes I think women give those ultimatums, like I said, because they've had that concern or issue for such a long period of time, and it's like, okay, I reached my final straw.
What about when the right, exactly. What about when the ultimatum affects you negatively. So let's say you kind of have put out an ultimatum and then you rushed into something, and then that comes back to bite you. How do you, as a woman or as a man, feel about that when you were the one who pushed for the ultimatum, saying if you don't do this, and then the person did it, and they weren't ready and you weren't ready?
I mean, that can happen, but that's a part of life. What if you didn't do it and you regretted it, and that's something negative as well? Or what if you did do it and, like you're saying, something negative happened? So I think you would still have to take ownership. Hey, babe, yeah, we did rush into this decision because I really wanted to push towards it. My bad about how it's turning out, but let's try to turn this thing around so we can get back in a positive, place. So I think just with everything, just having that open line of communication would definitely solve that. But I think you came across a scenario where there was like a crazy ultimatum, right? Where a lady was saying that it was a scenario where a guy and a woman have been dating for a lengthy period of time.
So they've been only dating for a short period of time. So it was only like 6 months they've been dating. But, he really liked her. She so-called really liked him. It was, they was vibing. They would love doing things together, sort of like we do. And they started, I guess, in the initial part of the relationship, they were having sex. And then she decided she didn't want to have sex anymore. She wanted to be celibate. But she would still allow him to do oral on her.
Lord.
So the manipulation was, okay, I'm not having sex with you right now. So they would go places, stay in hotels together or whatever, and then she'd be like, can you give me a massage? And then she want to get naked and get a massage. And as men, we're visual. We're seeing all that. We ain't gonna just want to give you a massage and then go to bed.
Absolutely.
And she would roll over and be like, I'm done. All right, see you in the morning. And that was frustrating him sexually. Physically he was frustrated about it. He voiced it to her. And then the next thing she goes, well, if we get engaged, then we can start having sex again. Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
Okay.
So where do you do that at?
I don't know where you do that.
So as a man, he definitely felt like he was manipulated or being manipulated to try to get him to do something he wasn't necessarily ready to do.
Okay. So did he sit down? I think, and this is what I would take from it, like he needed to sit down and really have an open conversation with her to say, why now have you reached the point that you no longer want to have sex? And you do understand that oral sex is still a form of sex. It may not be the penetration, yeah, excuse me. But it's,
penitentiary?
Yeah, that's not it. I mean, it may be that.
It might be. She keep playing with him like that, he might go crazy.
Anyway, so it may not be that form, but it's still a form of sex. So why are you okay with doing one form of sex and not the other form of sex? And maybe it's something that triggered her. Perhaps, and I don't know the details, but perhaps in the past she'd been maybe sexually abused or something like that, and maybe that's starting to trigger her now with being in a relationship after a period of time. I just don't know.
But then how do you go from, if you give me a ring, all of a sudden we can start doing stuff again?
Maybe she feels as if she don't want to give her body up or have, nowadays.
You shouldn't have been giving it up in the beginning.
Nowadays, but let me just say, for our newer generation, I've heard girls say, when we have oral sex, that's not technically sex.
Okay.
So people are realizing, and I don't know if they're trying to manipulate the Bible or trying to manipulate themselves into believing whatever, but they're like, oh no, we're not having sex. And it's like, no, you really are.
You really are.
Right is right and wrong is wrong, okay?
Yeah.
So anyway, I don't know if she believes in her mind that having oral sex or engaging in that is not really sex. And so she's feeling like, okay, I'm trying to, I don't know, get closer to God, and I'm not trying to have sex until we get married or until we get engaged. But to each his own.
But then, like I said, they've only been dating for 6 months, so that's a short time frame to already assume you are marrying material.
Well, you said guys know in 30 days, 90 days?
90 days. We only know about 90 days.
Okay, maybe he's told her, you look like this is moving towards.
Right, but then now this has became a big red flag for him. So now that. So
as a man, if I came and told you that, what would the red flag be? What would you be thinking? I'm having sex with somebody else?
The first thing that would pop in my head, somebody else is getting it if I ain't getting it.
But you're still getting the oral, so how is that?
No. He's not getting the oral. She is.
He's not getting anything?
No.
Jesus. I turned it
You dropped the ball and missed that one, yeah. So she's fine with him doing stuff to her.
But nothing's being done to him.
But nothing being done to him.
Manipulation.
Thank you.
I ain't say that out loud.
Yes, you did. You heard that, lady. She ain't with y'all now. She on team man.
Okay, yeah.
No, so tell me that's not manipulation, and then all of a sudden, yeah, if you give me a ring.
So basically, she's just asking him to go ahead and propose to her.
Right.
So she's withholding sex to him, but she can be on the receiving end until she gets a ring.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so she went back to the most common ultimatum. You need to marry me or propose by this time in order to get this.
Exactly.
Now, in that situation, I would definitely say that's manipulation. To me, I feel like I shouldn't have to withhold something that you love or we both enjoy, as a matter of fact.
We should.
Yeah, definitely, because I want you to do something. Mm-hmm. We're adults, so I should be able to come to you and say, hey, babe, I'm really interested. I love you a lot. I'm interested in moving towards marriage. If you're not, like, just be honest with me. If that's not what it is, and that's not what you want right now.
That's a serious conversation. And if he goes, I love you, and I can see myself doing that in the future, but right now I'm not quite ready for that.
Yeah.
And that's some men. They are. We've only been together for 6 months. Right. I'm not necessarily ready. I haven't seen all your quirks. I haven't seen everything to know. Okay, if this woman's genuine or she's just kind of playing with me. Because when you first date, you get the representative.
You do.
And the representative is nice.
Yeah, of course.
The representative will do nice things for you and
until that real person show up.
Until a real person show up, because the real person's not really there when you first start dating.
Yeah.
They don't tell you everything. They don't share everything. They don't get mad with you about little stuff when you first start. But then quickly, little small things become an issue.
But again, I think that all boils down to communication.
Of course.
If he's not ready, if she's not ready to have that conversation with the person and tell them. We've even in the beginning sat down and told ourselves, like, hey, we do know that this is what we want. However, there's some things that we both wanted to work on. Yeah. And we were open and honest with each other and told each other that. Like, we're best friends, we're lovers, like, we love each other and everything, but there's still some things that we wanted to work on so that when we moved to that stage, we knew that we'll be even more prepared.
Very true.
So
Very true.
I think that's kind of some of the conversations that I need to have. And let's talk about the impact on ultimatums.
Well, I know one of the main ones for men, it leads to resentment. It definitely does. We resent that lady for whatever she put that ultimatum on us because we feel pressured.
Right.
And we don't want to feel pressure in a relationship.
Right.
We want it to just kind of organically happen as a man. Not saying, a little pushing the tushy sometimes is not a bad thing, but that ultimatum for us really affects our mindset and our, how we feel about that lady. Because we're like, really? I thought we were good. I thought everything was going well.
And now you
hit me with this.
Right.
And now I'm like, I don't know if I really want to do this with you now. Because if you're going to do this now, what's going to happen when we get married?
Yeah.
It could be worse.
Yeah, and that's what I was going to say. It can potentially worsen even the underlying issue rather than resolve it. So you're thinking you're going in with the intent that, okay, I gave him this ultimatum, he's going to go ahead and propose to me. And he like, oh no, this is how you act when you don't get your way, or this is how you act when things don't, necessarily go how you want them to go. I'm seeing a different person. Right. I don't know if this is what I want. I don't necessarily want to be with a person, that's going to give me demands, but rather treat me, the way that I want to be treated and at least can be able to talk to me about it.
No, for sure.
And kind of like what you also said, ultimatums can create a sense of threat, making the other person feel pressured and definitely controlled. And nobody, not even a woman, I know men definitely don't like to be controlled and like you said, pressured, but even a woman, we don't want to feel that way from our spouse or our man.
It's a form of emotional manipulation, to be honest with you. It really is. Like, you can't control somebody's emotions like that.
Yeah.
You don't know what they have going on and how they feel about this, or maybe they're trying to, I want to marry her, but I'm not ready to, I can't afford the ring that I want to get her. You never know what is going on in that person's mind. And if you're trying to just manipulate them emotionally, it's going to backfire for you. It really is.
Absolutely.
Now, there are some, I'm just not, I sit there and say there's not some good ultimatums, because there are some.
Like what?
I'll get to mine in my example for the quickie. So, but there are some good examples of ultimatums where somebody, as you say, kind of pushes you to another level.
But I think, again, you have to know your spouse, right? because for us, and I'm just being open and transparent,
That you are.
you know how to push me without
Demanding.
yes. But sometimes you have to be a little bit more aggressive with the approach, because I can at times I can be a little stubborn.
And you're an overthinker, so
I definitely am an overthinker. Yeah. So when you come to me, you have to have everything.
I have to have everything answered.
Yeah.
Here's A, B, C, D, all the way up to Z. Here's what's gonna happen. If this happens, here's what's gonna happen. When that happens, and that. Don't look at me like that. But that gives you some reassurance that okay, he thought about everything.
Absolutely.
And now I feel at ease, and I can go, okay, yeah, I got you, baby. I understand.
Yeah. And sometimes you can't come at me like, and I can't even give an example, but to try to push me to do something. I think at one time we were doing like workouts, and we were trying to stay consistent with the workouts. When you fired me as your trainer. Yeah. And you were like, come on, we have to do this. Let's go. Like this morning we getting up and doing X, Y, Z. And you know I didn't want to do it.
She gave me the finger, y'all. I'm just being honest. She gave me the finger. Said, I don't like you right now.
I gave the trainer the finger. I didn't give you the finger.
Okay, well, she gave the trainer who was still me the finger.
And I didn't pay for that session.
She didn't pay for that session either.
Or the one before.
No, she ain't paid for no session.
Watch it.
I'm just saying. I only know how to keep a rep you in business. Clients don't want to pay.
Oh, goodness. So, yeah, sometimes ultimatums can get a short-term desired outcome, but it never really addresses the underlying issue. So sometimes people may change for a minute because you're yelling and then placing these demands on them, and then they may go right back to them not even really doing what you're asking. You know, so I think oftentimes with it, you want to get down to the root cause. That's what I would say. Get to the root of the issue. Right.
But even like in this, like the situation we just brought up with the guy, after the 6 months, maybe he does get her a ring. And then what if she still doesn't give him sex?
Right.
Then what?
Or what if she gets in a marriage with him? If he moves forward with it, if she gets in a marriage and he don't do something she wants, and she's like, "Oh, we're not engaging in sex, but you can give me oral." So that kind of could set the tone. So you got to really be careful because that could be a person's character that they're very manipulative. Not just one little ultimatum, but it can grow into something and expand into something bigger throughout the course of your relationship. And you don't want to be on, a string with your partner. I got to do this, or it is up or down. You don't want that, you know, and life shouldn't be like that.
It shouldn't. Yeah. Relationship shouldn't be like that.
No. If you're interested in getting married, you're telling him, hey, I really want to get married. If you can't adhere to, us trying to move forward in 60 days or whatever time frame she had, then I would just come out and tell him that. Sometimes just come out and be honest with your partner.
But I always take it like this, and this is from the men's perspective. The Bible says it in itself, the man that finds a good wife. It doesn't say the woman that finds a good husband. It says the man. So regardless of how many women think they want to control the relationship, it's still in the man. Listen, it's still in the man to make that decision. If I don't ask you to marry me, are we ever get married?
No, but there are some women that are asking the man.
Yeah,
so biblically,
I'm totally against that one.
Absolutely. So biblically, if you want to stay with the Bible, biblically that is not correct. However, culturally, it's becoming more acceptable.
It is. But
so again, you got to say to each his own. But I understand what you're saying, that the man should do the chasing, or the man should be the one that's leading that effort and saying, yes, I want to move forward, getting married or whatever. But again, you have some men that, and we've had
trying to drag their feet, but those. And I think that maybe this is the misconception for those women. That's not the one.
But just because a man drags his feet, he's not the one for you?
No. If he keeps dragging you along and you gave him an ultimatum, and let's say he drags it along even longer, he's letting you know he's not committed to you. A man who's committed to the woman that they love, they're going to, as I said, you're going to see some changes in them. They're going to try to do some different things. To show you or reassure you I still love you. I just can't maybe get to where I need to get right now, but I'm working towards that. They're going to show you some results.
Right.
A man that's not is just going to kind of keep dragging you along, manipulating you and saying, oh, I love you, babe, I love you, and then I'm going to go back to what I was doing because I said I love you and you kind of let it go for a minute. That's what I mean by a real man. When he knows he wants to really be with that woman, he's going to find a way to start working towards that because he doesn't want to lose her.
I understand.
Like, we've had conversations, and I told you I never want you not to be in my life. So there were some things I was working on with myself, with my ego and my pride, that I had to just put aside because I understand that wasn't going to be healthy for us in a relationship.
Absolutely.
So I can't go speak for you, but you can say whether I have or have not, but I did some things differently. How I haven't.
You heard it?
Yeah, I can hear you. But
no, you absolutely have.
So I put some things in place where I'm like, I really want her to understand that was stuff that I had in my past, and I was so used to doing it that way that I just kept doing it.
Absolutely.
And for you, it was hurtful.
Absolutely.
So I had to look at myself in the mirror and go, look, I can't be this person no more. I got to kind of change for us, not just for me, but for us. And a real man is going to do that. He's going to change for us.
Facts.
So keep that in mind, ladies. If he's still manipulating, even though you gave him an ultimatum, he might not be the one. Because some dudes are real good at manipulating the situation.
Say it again.
And kind of just bouncing around. I'm going to change for like 10 minutes, and then I'm going back to me because that's just them.
That's just them, yeah.
But when you real and serious about it, you're going to change your actions. You're going to change the way you move for that woman.
That's so true.
So.
And I think women as well.
Yeah, some women will as well, yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah, if they have, certain things that they're terrible at, and he tells you, look, this is a problem for me, they'll change that.
Absolutely, yeah.
They really will.
And it's not necessarily, like for me, when you and I started dating, it wasn't me just changing it because you said it. It was me changing it because I wanted to change for the betterment of us.
Exactly.
So me changing made you happier or made the relationship blossom more. Yeah. So I wanted that for the sake of us.
Okay.
Yeah, so I think we already know you cannot be selfish in.
You can't be selfish in a relationship.
Yeah, you really can't.
That will never, ever, ever, ever be productive.
No. Okay. Go ahead. Oh, you were going to say something?
No, you go ahead, baby.
Okay, so I'm going to ask, are ultimatums sometimes healthy in a relationship?
I think some are. Some are. And like I said, this is part of my quickie. But the first time I got married, my wife, we were still dating, just fresh, dating. Might have been dating a couple months. And this is in high school, so this was Fry. This was the Fry, not TC. Lord. So this was Fry, so I had hair, and then I used to have this girl braid my hair all the time, right? So I went home one weekend, and the girl was going to braid my hair. So I was talking to my wife, girlfriend at the time, and she goes, what are you about to do? I said, I'm about to go over to Wawa's house and get my hair braided. And it was like 11, 12 o'clock at night. And she was like, excuse me? And she was like, you doing what? I said, I'm going, get my hair braided. Which I did all the time. This is not nothing crazy, nothing new for me. And she was like, not at 11 o'clock. And she calmly said it. She said, just letting you know, if you go over there and get your hair braided, we're done. And I had never received no ultimatum from no woman, period. So for me I was like, what? It's like, what's the big deal? I really just need to get my hair done, right? She was like, well, you maybe do it during the day, but you're not going over there this late.
Well, backstory, you had slept with this woman too.
I did.
Oh, okay.
But I wasn't doing that.
Sit here acting like I'm just going to get my hair braided, R. Kelly. Just braid my hair.
I was.
Yeah, okay.
No, but
that's what you thought you were going to do.
No, that's what I was going to. You know how I am. I would have sit there and talked to her on the phone the whole time I got my hair braided.
You probably would have.
It wouldn't have been no issue for me because I'm not that untrustworthy dude where I'm going to say I'm going to go do something and then I don't do what I say I'm going to do.
Yes, but also like we've had conversations about multiple
women are manipulative. You're true, you're right, but I still, in my eyes, and of course, I can be oblivious to things sometimes. So for me, it was just like, I'm just going to get my hair braided, babe. No big deal. I'm just going to get my hair braided. And I literally thought about it for a second, and that ultimatum really hit me because I was like, do I want to lose her over get my hair braided? So I called her back maybe 30 minutes later. I said, I'm going to go ahead and just go to bed. I ain't going to get it done or whatever. So we talked. We talked for a little bit on the phone, and then I went to bed. I went back to school without getting my hair braided.
Good.
So it is what it is, but that was the first ultimatum I've had in a relationship.
How did that make you feel?
I think that was kind of, and for me, I'm a competitive person, so for me that was like a challenge.
Oh Lord.
No, seriously. For me, that was like a challenge. And it was a good thing because it pushed me to go, okay, yeah, is that worth it? Mm-hmm. And, you know, me, I just wanted my hair braided. Mm-hmm. So probably a little bit after that, I just cut all my hair off. I was like, forget it, I can't.
Mm-hmm. Oh, no, we can find you a stylist or somebody. You can go to Nadine's down the street that's open 24 hours.
Nadine might want to rub on my head. You know how
she gonna rub on your
You know
head.
how the women like rubbing on the back of my head. Let my woman tell it.
She can be rubbing your head all the way down to 50 when I drag her.
So that's just how it is when it comes to somebody who really wants to change for that part. Mm-hmm. They're going to think about things. How will this affect them?
Yeah.
If I do this, and I'm like that all the time. When I do things, I'll go, oh, she probably wouldn't like me doing that. So, babe, blah 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 blah. So I can. No, I'm just saying. I don't have an example in my head right off the top of my head, but I would just call you and go, yeah, I don't think I'm going to I'm not going to go this place because I'm tired. Even though I might have been ready to go on initially anyway. So.
Okay.
Don't look at me like that. She's like, he over here. So, in your eyes, what's the ultimate red flag when it comes to ultimatums?
Probably the ultimate red flag would be what you mentioned, the manipulation of it. If you want someone to do something or you need them to do something, I think just having a conversation with them is beneficial. I don't need you to necessarily give me demands and give me crazy ultimatums. So I do think an ultimatum can be a red flag based upon the conditions of the ultimatum.
I think it can be based on the tone of it. If they really coming at you with anger with that ultimatum, that's not good.
Okay, so what if they're nicely coming? If there's so many conditions,
then that might be a red flag too. But I think more so, if you come at me and you're angry about the ultimatum, then there's something else.
Yeah, it's some emotional.
There's something behind that.
Yeah.
And I need to know what that background is.
Yeah.
Because I can't resolve it just by you telling me I need you to do this. Because I need to know why. Because they're probably going to come up again in the relationship. Mm-hmm. So that's definitely important. So if they're coming at you with an ultimatum and it's out of anger and not love, that's a problem.
Okay.
That's a red flag for me. Mm-hmm. That truly is.
Okay, yeah.
You want to get to that quickie, baby?
Okay, quickie time.
So I kind of already shared mine. So let me hear what yours. So share with us a crazy ultimatum you ever gave or received.
I don't really have one. I've never given an ultimatum, and I never received an ultimatum.
Really?
Yeah. Never, ever.
No man has ever given you an ultimatum.
Like what? To say what?
Well, I'm just asking.
No. I've never had an ultimatum.
Even when you was married, no ultimatum?
We ain't had no ultimatums. Like what would I don't know what that would be.
I don't know. I'm asking.
No, I never had you gotta hurry up and marry me, or you better hurry up and have my baby, or you better do this and I won't do that.
Nobody, not even cooking you steak and potatoes or nothing like that?
I don't think that was an ultimatum, like you're not doing what I want you to do or you're not cooking. I think that was more so someone looking for your flaw or looking for an issue in your relationship. But it wasn't like, if you don't start doing this, then I'm not going to do this, or you got to do this by this time for me to do that. No. Okay. So a lot of things were just identifying or trying to kind of just find a flaw in the person, which is bad as well, but it's not necessarily an ultimatum. Okay. So I've never been with a guy who's like, and I've been with guys before, and I of course told them, that early on, with dating, that I didn't want to have sex. But I never had a guy say, if we don't have sex by this time, then I'm leaving. Because I was like, right now I'm just focusing on school and things. We just kicking it, and I just wasn't in that space when I was younger. I was just so focused on school. And
that's why she had that 4.85 GPA.
There we go. So, they probably said it to themselves, like, she don't do such and such by this time, and I'm going to leave, and whatever, that's fine. Right. Because I had my own standards, right, where we talked about that. But yeah, I've never had, and of course in our relationship, neither one of us have given either one of them.
I kind of got a little bit of one.
Here we go.
I kind of got a little bit of one.
What ultimatum did I give you? So here we go.
And I'm gonna say this in her defense. She was kind of joking, but she was kind of serious too. I could see it on her. She had the wrinkles on her forehead when she said it.
Here we go.
No.
The man said, "Cut the script. I'm done."
Right, cut it. But no, she She said she wanted to be engaged by a certain time. She did mention that. But it wasn't, like I said, we was having a general conversation. It wasn't if you don't do this, we out.
What did I say? It needs to be done.
I got until July 2025, so I got a couple days to get this together. But
you don't work well under pressure. You don't want to be pressured.
Yes, I do. I work well under pressure now.
Oh, do you?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I'm clutch. Clutch.
Okay. We'll see how that goes.
I'm Jordan in Game 6, baby. I'm clutch.
No.
Not.
We'll see.
No, I'm clutch. I'm clutch, baby. I'm clutch.
Okay. Let's give him LeBron James right
No, I ain't LeBron. I ain't passing the ball. I'm shooting that mother. But no, we were general conversation, and we both, as we already, I think we shared, we've already been kind of planning our wedding anyway, so it's not like we're not going towards that. Even though she giving me the look, but
I'm keeping quiet.
Why you keeping quiet?
I'm keeping quiet because a man that finds a good thing.
I found a great thing.
Okay, very good.
I ain't no good. This is great.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jesus. Thank you, Lord.
Anyway, so the quickie of the week is to share with us any crazy ultimatum that you've ever given or received.
No, so as the listeners out there, when you hear this, let us know if you had any crazy ultimatums that you received. Just shoot us a DM at all in our business on Instagram, or you can DM us directly on Facebook, or do the fan mail, and just let us know if you had any crazy ultimatums from a partner over the past. We would love to hear some of the stories. We really would.
Definitely. And you can definitely be anonymous if you don't want to share that stuff with your
Don't put your name on it if you don't want to. But
and then if you bold, then just put your name about it.
Jimmy told me. Yeah, we got it, girl. And you still with Jimmy? Jimmy gone, ain't he? But, please share. Send us fan mail, or hit us up on Instagram or Facebook.
Yes.
And just let us know if you had any crazy ultimatums in your life. We would love to hear them.
Love. So tap in with us, like he said, on all platforms. You definitely can reach out to us and let us know. We want to hear any crazy, or even if they weren't crazy, maybe just any
ultimatum.
Yeah.
I had this guy in college told me if I don't suck his toes, I'm out.
Oh Lord.
Hey, some people got some crazy fetish. I'm sure Diddy told Cassie some crazy stuff.
Oh, babe. Okay.
I'm just saying.
That is
you know that.
That is very true. Okay. So have you ever been given an ultimatum by a woman?
Other than my wife? That thing in high school? No. Or college? I was in college.
Other than your late wife?
My late wife,
Okay, gotcha. So no.
My future wife, she kind of gave me an ultimatum too, but...
What is that?
I told you about the July, baby. I got a month.
You give your own self these timelines. I think you hear me saying something and you putting it on your own head.
I need the receipts. I need to pull up the receipts.
You need to,
I'm gonna pull up the receipts, y'all.
Yeah, please, because I'm telling you, ain't nothing out here that exists.
Yeah, okay.
Okay.
But no, I can't recall any other ultimatums that I remember from anybody.
So even when you were with 2 or 3 women at the same time, they never told you if you let you got to let another woman go?
I ain't put my business out on the street like that.
I didn't know the mics were still on.
Oh, you know the hot mic, the mic is still on. Don't be put my business out on the street like that. Nah, but I don't care. We really don't care. I don't mind sharing. No, I didn't have any ultimatums from...
Okay, Fry.
Fry didn't have any ultimatums from the multiple females he might have been talking to at the same time. No, can't say I've ever had that.
You slick with it.
I was smooth with it, nigga. Well, maybe they knew, but I didn't think they knew that I was talking to a couple of them at the same time. But
how many? I mean, Kevo G's just...
Kevo G's wants to know. Inquiring minds. Kevo G's, I'm not giving you that information. We'll have that talk on a sidebar. I ain't doing it on this podcast. But, you in high school, you think you a player. Everybody, all young guys, they think they are. I can juggle multiple women. But it took me not long to realize, man, that's not for me.
Wow. That's good.
Because even when I was, and I just hate to share this, but even when I was like that dating multiple women, when I was with the particular woman I was with, she literally got all my attention.
Wow.
It wasn't like, I'm looking at my phone or I'm texting the other girl while she got all the attention while I was with her. And I guess that's when I could realize, okay, maybe I'm not meant to be dating multiple women because
I just want to give my attention to this one person.
I can't juggle.
Right.
I can't be juggling 2 or 3 women and do it effectively.
Right.
So I stopped doing it. I was like, yeah, with one, I'm with one. It is what it is. And no, don't get me wrong, there'll be other women who try to flirt or whatever. And I was like, nah, I'm good.
Definitely.
So.
Okay. Well, take us on out, baby.
Take us on out. So as we like to say, thank you. Thank you again.
Thank you
for
again.
another episode of All in Our Business Podcast. Thank you for listening in. We hope you enjoyed this episode. And be sure to, as I said earlier, to follow us at All In Our Business on Instagram. And be ready to tune in next week. We got another hot topic for you. So we're talking about trust issues.
Oh, Lord.
Okay? In a relationship.
I was still going through each other's phones.
Still going through each other's phones.
Give me that phone.
You can have it. You got my passcode, passwords to all my stuff. Yeah.
Likewise.
I have no problem opening my phone and giving it to her.
Well, you ain't going through my phone. No.
What I need to go through your phone for?
I don't know. But it's mine. You can't go through it.
Oh, that's what we doing?
That's what we doing.
Shit, maybe I need to check her phone. I'm sitting here being all...
Why you gotta go through someone's phone if you trust them?
I didn't say I didn't trust you, but you just said you just told me you're not going through my phone.
Yeah.
So if I said, baby, let me have your phone.
What do you need?
You wouldn't give it to me? Let me have your phone.
Huh?
Give me your phone right now,
Okay,
baby.
come on. Let's finish this podcast.
Oh, that sounds like a red flag popping up, y'all. Shit, July ain't happening. Damn it, that's an ultimatum. July ain't happening if you don't give me that phone. You better give me that phone or July ain't happening. Yeah, there you go. You got your first ultimatum.
Stay tuned for next week. It's going to get hot and it's going to get juicy as we talk about trust issues in a relationship.
Yeah, be ready. So tune in. Thank you for listening again. Peace.
Peace. You ain't getting my phone now.